a bead stopper? A bead stopper is a stainless steel patented coil that clips onto your bead stringing material. So it comes in different sizes, and there's a standard size and a mini size. And you choose the size depending on what type of stringing materials you're using and also what size your beads are. So if you're using very large, bold beads, you'd want to use the larger standard size bead stopper. Now you can see I've clipped it onto my stringing material to prevent the beads from spilling. It's a terrible experience when you're working along and you either leave your work and come back, or you're just adjusting something and the beads fall off the end. And this is meant to take care of that little problem. So with stringing your materials, you're just going to squeeze the coil, the end loops on the coil, to take it apart. And you can see the coil just comes right separate, and then you clip it back on to your stringing material. So you can use this as instead of adhesive tape or an alligator clip or any other kind of thing that might leave a residue or mar your stringing material. Again, you just squeeze the loops together on the end and take it off or put it back on, and you can see the coil really separates to clip easily onto your stringing material. Again, with the standard size coil, that works for thicker stringing materials, and the mini coil is perfect for thread or thinner stringing materials. Now, one thing that really is great is, of course, when you're working with small materials like seed beads, you're often working on intricate designs or things that take quite a long time to put together, and you don't want to lose all that precious work. So, for instance, if someone would come along and pick up your seed beads, and they all just slide right off the end. And we've all had that happen, and it's so frustrating, and beading is supposed to be relaxing and fun. So use your bead stopper, and that will prevent you from losing your beads and having to restring your work. You can also use it with multiple strand designs. And when you're using multiple strands, you could clip the bead stopper onto separate strands, or you can clip them together. And then you can really see how the drape is going to work with your piece and how your beads are going to lay in the design. I also like to use it when I'm working with multiple strand pieces like this one, where I'm creating more of a pattern. So I've used my bead stopper after the first part of my beading wire, and then I can string my beads onto the remaining wires, passing it through, and then clip them together. Or I could even use a separate bead stopper here, and that would help me keep my pattern going and also prevent me from spilling my beads. Now, when you're doing stitch work with seed beads, it's also helpful to use a bead stopper in kind of a creative way, where here I'm doing a peyote stitch cuff, and I pass my needle through the up beads, and I use my bead stopper on the needle. So I still have it clipping the end of my stringing material, so I don't need to use a stopper bead or adhesive tape or gator clip or anything like that, but I'm also using it with my pattern. So also with the multiple strands, this is great for when you're working on multiple projects, or if you're making beading kits, you can include the bead stopper in your kit, or with beading parties. This is a wonderful way to introduce people to beading in a way that isn't frustrating, and they're going to have great success every time. Now, you could also use bead stoppers for some other creative uses in your workspace, like arranging your beading needles. Now, we all have beading needles of every size, and keeping them straight can be complicated. So with a bead stopper, I just lay the needle into the bead stopper coil, and then I can sort my needles by size and hang this on my pegboard or other kind of work organizer. And I can also use it to seal little plastic baggies of findings and other beads. Now remember that the bead stopper is stainless steel, so it's corrosion resistant, it won't rust, and it's going to last forever. It's reusable, it's made in the USA, and the packaging is also resealable, so you can store your bead stopper right in the package that it comes in. And that's the bead stopper. When you use a bead stopper, there's no more crying over spilled beads.